Hello to viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Future Friday, we're going to talk about mess of late stage capitalism part 2. So first part we talked about the problem, here we're going to figure out how to solve it. So there is hope here, that's the good part. You have to start at that point, otherwise there is no point. So capitalism is closest to democracy. What does that mean? That simply means is the worst form of system except for all the other systems that have been tried. Basically, it applies the same thing that Churchill said, and it's a quite poignant line, is that no one pretends that democracy is perfect or all wise. Now, this is a very critical thing, especially I've noticed way too many people are falling for propaganda, is that if you are trying to analyze a country, let's say China, you want to analyze it. If you see good coming out of it, that's good. But here's the deal, there must be equivalent amount of bad. Must be. Like, of course, a bit less, bit more, bit this, that's a different thing. But it's like, if only good is coming out, run. We have learned this. We have learned this from North Korea. We have learned this from Soviet Union. Learn this part and learn this well. That if only good things are, like for example, if you watch India's politics, you will say, oh, so many things are messed up, or so many things are good. You watch China, everything is good. Yeah, run. Never. Like real life, that does not happen because humans are not perfect. So nobody pretends. One good thing about democracy is that every Tom, Dick and Harry, take any democratic country, people will have something to complain about, and that's a good thing. So democracy is the worst form of government except for all those other forms that have been tried from time to time. And we have learned this the hard way. Like this is the best demonstration of two economic modality. So what happens in communism? What happens in capitalism? There is a very good joke going around in China from Chinese people. Nobody else, no West propaganda or something like that. Is that Chinese CCP basically? They says communism is so great. Why do they never go for visit to North Korea? Why they always go to America for visit? It's like all you must have heard the fact that New York rent is so high that nobody can afford it. Then who the heck is buying them? Yeah, Chinese. So it's one of those things that you must understand that capitalism is not a perfect system. You have to understand it. But compared to everything else that we have tried, it's exponentially better. So, and it needs checks and balance. And this is the most critical aspect of any ecosystem. Without checks and balance, it will fall apart. It does not matter what it is. So if capitalism needs to grow, need to flourish, and people in it needs to grow and flourish, it must have checks and balance. This is a good example of how basically government manages itself. So you have judiciary department, legislative department, and executive branch. All these three balances each other out, meaning likelihood of even one branch able to take care of everything else? No, they cannot. And to limit their power, the power is distributed, and same goes for everyone. So likelihood of three organizations coming together to take over the country, yeah, that's not happening. So checks and balances matters a lot. Like again, what if it was corrupted? That's your problem. That's corruption's problem. That's not capitalism problem. And then again, that can happen to government, that can happen to religion. Your religion should not be in a position where one individual can exploit it too much. That should not be viable. Like it should not allow it to go that bad, as they say. So that's the whole point. And another aspect is, oh, this is from Germany, like when we had a wall, the German wall. So you have to understand it's in all our best interest to fix it rather than let's destroy it, let's go back to the worst system that we have seen. And we're like, oh, China. It's like, that's why, like, if you're not seeing their stupid people, if you're not seeing their bad, that is the worst sign you can get out of it. So it's one of those things that if you are in a country that is actually in civil war, you do not see people going poof. But if you are in a country that is peaceful, even one poof event where it's like one person was poofed, people are like, oh, this is a shocking news, this happens. And you may feel like, oh, this country is so bad. No. If one person getting poofed is a news, that is a good thing. That simply means that's how high value one life is. Go to other countries in this planet. I'm not going another planet. It's like people are getting boomed hundreds of times. Like, what do you think is the condition of Palestine right now? It's not good. And there are other places also that is worse than that. Yes, literally, not even exaggeration. Like country has dissolved this year. So fundamentally, let that be very clear. It's in all our best interest to fix it rather than to like, oh, this tool has rusted, let's just eat it. All we need is a good checks and balances. So what role government plays into this? Now, government is lubrication. Now, you have to understand there are many countries that have democracy, many countries that have what you call capitalist system, but not all of them are in the same scale. For example, if you want to compare India's current condition, compare it to Pakistan's current condition, it's night and day different. Like the scale is bonkersly different. Like there is a gap of 1 trillion there. It's like, how the heck that happened? Even though Pakistan should be much better off, it has one major religion, everything is simplified, much less people, and again, in many scenarios, they have lucked out enormously. And again, America literally helped them, because America wanted Pakistan to be better counterbalance to Afghanistan invasion of basically Soviet Union. So Pakistan was like, a very awesome situation, but government was not working properly. If you have watched any recent news for past 2-3 years, you must have seen like their government sucks. So government is not lubricating things properly. Consequences, is not running smoothly. So businesses are not growing. Things are not expanding. There could have been like whoa, from whoa to there like it's like we are running out of money. Like India also took a loan once, and they took it 22 times. So fundamentally, government has to be lubricating things. If they do not, things fall apart. You cannot just like capitalism should save us all. That's not how it works. Sri Lanka also learned that the hard way. You must have a good governance. That's the only way you can do that. And India lucked out in this regard, because all our elders who were like just after the independence, they planted the seeds of long-term growth very early on. Like India got undersea fiber optic cable before China, and everybody was like, "Why India does not need it?" India planted seeds of international, basically space agency, Indian Space Organization, ISRO, very early on. People were like, "Oh, India does not need it." No, a lot of our founding father, as you would say, or freedom fighters, practically speaking, they were like, yeah, we need to plan ahead, and it's paying off right now. So same things goes with every other nation. If your government is not planning ahead, not lubricating things for the future, it's gonna backfire. Another aspect, what is their primary role in capitalism? Well, in capitalism, you have to understand, capitalism is only healthy if there is competition. If there is no competition, you're dead. It would be like on paper, like Russia is like, Russia is strong, Russia is growing, and like Russia is awesome. And then like, wait a minute, remove oil and mining industry, tell me a company's name. Go ahead, try it. Like you will have very hard time, like ludicrously large amount of hard time. Like you will like, dude, it should not be this hard. It's remove weapons again if you want to be like that. So it's one of those things. You must have competition. If you do not have it, yeah, that's gonna backfire. So what are the poison that people can use to destroy things? Well, first, poison dumping. China is master in this. So imagine whatever ore you take, let's say steel. So let's say 1 ton of steel costs 1,000 rupees. Does not matter the price exactly, just focus on the ratio. So let's say 1 ton steel costs you 1,000 to make it. Like no matter what you do, it's gonna cost you that much, and then you're gonna mark up and then gonna have profit. So times of low demand, you may reduce your profit, so you at least keep getting materials moving, and the times of high demand, you may jack up the price, or you can do even vice versa. That's the whole point of capitalism. One company would be like, what if I increase the price? Another one like, what if I decrease it? You balance things out. So that's one way. But what China did during around 2009 plus is they went all out, meaning directly started selling steel at loss, meaning their foundries were not making money. They were flooding the market below cost. And this is a very dangerous tool. This tool allows big corporation to annihilate competition and make sure competition never comes to be. For example, let's say there are 2 airlines companies. Let's call it Boeing, let's call it Airbus. Now, again, these are 2 giants, and because of the bureaucracy requirement and because of the safety requirements, you cannot actually just go and make a commercial airline. However, you can make a private jet, and there are companies that are making it. But here's the back in the early days, these companies were like, hey, if they're gonna make private jet, and let's say it is actually a good, there's a good chance they can get enough market. There is a good chance they can grow enough where they can make become our competitor in future. Not right now, but in future. So what they did? They released their own options. But here's the deal, it's price negative, meaning because of in requirements of tax, paperwork, things of that nature, it's kind of easy to calculate what is the price of an aircraft in terms of material, bill of material, BOM cost, so to say. So it's like, it's a Pratt & Whitney engine, what is the engine cost? You can figure it out quite reasonably. It's like they are buying this much carbon fiber, they are buying this much epoxy, like there is a good way of estimating very reasonably what is the cost of aircraft. I'm removing the R&D cost. Now here's the deal, for a fact that a jumbo, let's say even a high grade passenger personal private jet will supposed to cost at least let's say $10 million, and the company is selling at $9 million. That means company is selling at loss. But here's the deal, why would a company do that? Here's the deal, to annihilate competitor. It's a loss on them, like flat out they are losing money, but in their book it will say $1 million loss to remove the competition. And because they would be making large profit in large equations, they will be like, dude, we are making billions per year, just a little bit to make sure there is no competitor, that's free. So they do that. That's called dumping. You never want a nation where dumping has started to happen, in either from foreign players or by your own country's big players, because that will terminate tiny players. You do not want that. That's one very bad thing. Another is price fixing. So price fixing is where two companies can be like, hey, we can compete. And again, that will mean I have to work. That means you have to work. We have to actually do things. Or we can just do some dealings, and we can be like, hey, let's have the same price. And you're like, again, wouldn't the public will get? So you will change the tactics. The tactics change would be like, hey, you are selling 50 kilogram cement bag. We are selling 55 kilogram cement bag. So like, you will do that. You never want to be absolutely obvious that both are same, but you get the point. Like, you do price fixing. Now both of them just like chill out. None of them have to do actual innovation. And over time, you'll be like, hey, dude, my country has cement industry for past 50 years. They have not improved. Price fixing. Another is absorption of competition. This is kind of very obvious to figure it out, because you have to understand, when a company starts, it generally has a passion driving it. It switches gear from passion to profit. And if the bylaws, basically the laws governing how the company should behave, is not written properly, which surprisingly it's not, it's generally focused on shareholder gains. You could have a scenario where owner literally could lose grip, so to say. So for example, let's say you are a small company, you know the potential, you worked 10 years, let's say, to gut it here. You know for a fact that if you keep grinding on it, 30 years from now, it will be the next big thing. And yeah, some companies do plan that long. Yes, there are companies that are almost 400 years old. Look it up. Look how old Rolex is. So all of those things gives you an idea. It's like, I really need to go. But if it's not done correctly, you could have a big competitor looking at you. It's like, bro, this guy's coming up. And if they have smart people, they're like, bro, at current rate of acceleration, this puppy is going to overtake us. So what will they see? Flood price you. Meaning, if you genuinely should be $1 billion, they're like $10 billion. Now, the moment that $10 billion happens, everybody's like, we have to sell it. We have to sell it. And again, even owner, while being owner, could lose control in the scenarios. And they might be just like, yeah, we have to sell it. In those scenarios, government has to come in. Absorption of competitor is not acceptable. Like this happened very recently with Nvidia and ARM, whereas like ARM supposed to be sold. And again, I can easily see core people of ARM is like, bro, do not sell us to anyone, but like profit, my man. And then UK government is like, bruh, nah, we actually have very few companies that are of this caliber. Let's not lol it. So after these things, and again, let this be very clear, people do PhD on this. There is like a long list of things. I'm just talking about few easy to understand things. So if government is taking care of it, only then your capitalism will do its magic. Without it, there is no magic. So India has Competition Commission of India. USA has Department of Justice. There is a subsection in that Department of Justice that takes care of this part. This is from France. Every country has their own variant of it, and it has to be there because they are the only one that legally has the power to break down mega corporations. So if basically Meta starts to directly, hey, Facebook is not popular, Instagram is, let's just flood price it and buy it. Yeah, no, government should have been like, no. But they didn't. At least now they are waking up, so let's see. But again, might as well be too late. So government has to be there. Government has to lubricate things. Now we come to the good news of it. Now, assuming that government has not sleeping on the wheel, they are like, let's say they are not the most efficient, but they are still getting the job done, then is there a hope for small players? Actually, yes. Bureaucracy is your biggest enemy and friend. If bureaucracy happens to your opponent, you are flying basically at that point in time. So when companies starts to become the what we call mega corporation, or back in the old days we used to call it MNC, multinational corporations, they lose agility. What does that fundamentally mean? Fundamentally means, imagine this way. Let's say you are Canon. Let's say you have been making cameras for 100 years. Let's just go with that. And you making digital camera, digital video camera, digital cinema camera. And then there is this new company, Red Cinema, let's just call it that. And they are like, hey, we are doing the same thing. Again, they are buying sensor from outside. Same as Canon is doing that. They're buying it, they're putting it. One has 5,000 people, one has 500 people, not even 500, less than that. And then they're like, okay, cinema camera, here's the deal. How many cinemas you have seen shot on Canon? Surprisingly few, almost none. How many Oscars Red have? Now have Oscars, like Ari, Red. So how the heck that happened? Agility. So if there is an engineer in Canon, it's like notices what's the problem. He has to go from before somebody who can actually do things listens to it. And here's the deal, this takes time, and time is the one thing that money cannot buy. So a large corporation can literally be so laggard, you'll be like, dude, you had years to catch up, you didn't. That's the whole point. The bureaucracy is slowing down. It's not that they are incompetent, or it's not like they were sleeping on the wheels. It's just the bureaucracy, especially on mega corporation scale, is so tedious that many times people might just like, yeah, I give up. So fundamentally, they lose agility. That is your biggest advantage. Now, much smaller companies, this has happened, and be mindful, any company that you consider big, there was a time there was the small puppies. So, any much smaller companies can outsmart a large giant and gain market before they understand, oh, we are actually losing market share. Oh, we have to understand what is at play. We have to adapt. It could take so long that you will be like, yeah, we lost. Now be mindful, right now, FANG is the thing. But here's the deal, there was an era before that. There was an era where IBM was like, whoa, what happened? There was an era where Intel was like, whoa, what happened? So it's the same thing. If you have too much bureaucracy, like if you have meetings on top of meetings with some extra meetings, and then you have a meeting, the agenda of this meeting is try to figure out why we are having this meeting, yeah, you lose agility, and that has consequences, because money does not buy time. It only buys speed. And if you are wasting all your basically money on basically meetings, yeah, you lost. So bureaucracy can easily kill giants. You could literally have, this company was awesome and they became stupid, and then it can kill Nokia. So fundamentally, the things that are at play, it's not very easy for small startups, but it is hopeless. It's not hopeless. It's like they can be like, I can Tokyo drift around it. And that's the good thing about bureaucracy. It does inherently limit how big corporations can be, like all knowing, all awesome, all innovation on there. No, there is a potential, and it does work. That's exactly how it has been working. That's the one good thing about capitalism. So I'll give you an example. Let's say Framework. Now, Framework is a good company as in like what they are trying to do. And I have linked a very amazing interview of this individual, 20 minutes individual. Now, here's the deal. How the heck, imagine this, like I came to you and I talked to you like, bro, I want to go into this market. It's like, okay, what is the market? Market is super saturated market, meaning nobody even talks about it. No new releases are even talked about it. You do not even see TV ads about it anymore. It's so saturated. They're like, you want to go into that market, super saturated market, like it's not early adopters, not nerds, and not like mainstream laggard. No, like completely saturated. Then I want to get into it. It's like, how would you even survive? And are there big players in there? Yeah, there are daddy players known as Dell, HP, LG, Asus, Gigabyte. So you have more than enough players there. How the heck this company came to be? Well, that's the whole point. All they were doing, and this is the side effect of big mega corporation, especially once they are old enough. When they become old enough, they do not change. They are like, this works, the end. The end. It's like people are complaining, the end, we're not going to listen to it. Unless people start to throw away our stuff and directly buy some other player's stuff on a mass for years, only then we're gonna like listen to anything. So flat out gives them a blind spot. So all you have to do, especially in saturated market, and he talked it quite eloquently, is that just figure out people's pain points. What is the pain point? Because in saturated market, it's super easy to figure it out. Like for example, how all laptops had horrible webcams. Like this company is not spending boatload of money. It's just like, oh, what if we do not use the chips from 1990? What if we use the modern camera from smartphone? So again, it's not the greatest, but compared to what everybody else is experiencing, they're like, webcam on a laptop can actually be good. So those are little things. Like for example, what is the primary reason for laptop being heated? Well, it's battery. What if the batteries are easily swappable? So fundamentally, you can easily, in a saturation market, figure out pain points and easily make a device that can literally be leaps and bounds ahead of everyone else, and people would be excited about it. People would be happy about it. So they do that. Now here's the deal. Then why didn't the big corporation do that? Here's the deal. They are addicted to something. They're addicted to planned obsolescence. That is a recurring profit for them. Meaning they inherently design a laptop that is going to be yeeted in 3 years. I'm stretching it now. 5 to 3 years. They know for a fact that you're going to yeet this puppy. You're going to buy a new one after that. So they are enjoying that recurring payment. They, on the other hand, completely different business model. The business model is the laptops are expensive because we are trying to make as much money back as we can directly. It's almost like how ink tank printers are more expensive, but ink is cheaper. Same thing they are doing here, and they're gonna sell you basically modules. So they are trying to build a reputation, they are trying to build an ecosystem that makes money on a different modality compared to their opponents. And consequence of that is their opponents are trapped in their own system. I can guarantee you there are engineers in Dell that could have designed this in 5 minutes. There are engineers in HP that could have done this, like, and there are models, like there are actual mock-up models of this sort of concept from long ago. They just never did it because they are addicted to planned obsolescence. So what does that mean? That simply means if this company keeps going and they are on the second model, if they really polish it for, let's say, third model or fourth model, they will have such a large market capture so quickly. It's like bam, and literally one day after that HP will be like, what happened? And then it's gonna be like, again, that's how much potential a tiny company with tiny group of people, tiny as in like the number, they can just start a company on a saturated market and fire missiles and still have an actual probability of coming out on the other end. And this just happened. So, and to give you a numerical contents, giants will take 2 years to start. So if HP is like, we're gonna make a new less e-waste prone laptop, it's gonna take them 2 years before anything is actually done. They launched a laptop in 18. So that's the whole point. That addiction basically gives them a free rein, where it's like, hey, it's like how it happened like in the early years of printer. Like Espen was the first company that made, if I'm not mistaken, the ink tank printer for home use, because we were ink tank was the only way of doing a commercial printing. So that is there, but it's like for home use, Espen was the first. Because again, they were not making money. Espen changed it. It took quite some years for Canon to catch up. Then it took quite more years for HP to catch up. So even in a saturated market, you can fire a missile and hit your target quite effectively. And please do watch the video that I've linked down below. It's quite amazing. So this is just one example. And again, you can look into Nothing Phone. How the heck a company can come into a world and still become something that everybody talks about, everybody knows about, when big giants like Nokia, LG, HTC have left the field. Now, this is my another player. Like this applies on anything. It's like not just electronics, big daddy items like trucks, Edison Motors. So what is Edison Motor? Edison Motor is a dude, like this dude. So this dude got together with other dudes and had a tent and they built a truck. Let that sink in. That dude, they got with other dude and they're like, let's build a truck, dude. And truck was built. And here's it, it's certified. What does that mean? That simply means it's an actual road legal government approved vehicle. Done. Take it and go. Take it and go. How the heck that happened? Because here's the Elon Musk, again, he smokes too much nowadays. It's like even his promises are not that fast. And his promise, what his delivery is, that's lol. So he's like, in 2017, we're going to have self-driving. It's like, yeah, that never happened. We're going to have a delivery of like 10,000 truck by 2020. Yeah, that did not happen. We're going to have more. It's like, even his promises are like, gap between promise and promise delivery date is further than like how long it took them to make a physical thing, brand new and from scratch. Like you can literally watch all of their, they upload a lot in the basically YouTube. So you can watch, oh, this is now they are attaching frame rail. This is now they are attaching the suspension. They are attaching the engines. You can watch all of it. How the heck that happened so fast? And here's all their competitors, they're either making fake promises that they cannot deliver or they're still in R&D phase. How is that even possible? This, like how quickly this was built, it gives me idea like all the big companies like Tata, Volvo, things of that nature, they should have been like, dude, 3 months, take it and go. That's how quick it should have been. Like for their case, the worst delay they had was the e-axle. They had to have a custom made e-axles. So that took them the most amount of time. So how did that happen? Well, here's the, they're not BSing it. For example, if you watch a truck, especially vocational heavy load trucks, I'm not talking highway trucks, vocational heavy puppies, like bulldozer thing, like big puppies, they do not need curved glass. Then why does company build curved glass? So F the customer. So they give you a weird curved glass, and be mindful, it's not fixed. It's not like, okay, all diesel trucks will have on this curved glass. No. Every model will have different. So if chipping happens, damage happens, then you have to buy a specific part from their specific vendor. So they can, and what they are doing? Plate glass. It's like, bro, what you are carrying on the back side, it's designed to be basically a brick going through the wall. So why are you giving aerodynamic features on things like that have tracks? Like, I'm not even joking. In India, there are tracked vehicles, as in like excavators and things like that have curved glass. Why? But if you have plate glass, there are benefit. Their benefit is to the owner. And another benefit is to the company. Like, does company benefit from it? Yes. It takes them less to go to a glass manufacturer, ask them to design a custom mode, do test version loading, and it's like, dude, plate glass, take it and go. Done. That's why they've all managed to do it so quickly. It's like, what if we have custom fittings and we can just F the customer on it? And it's like, what if we go to Metro, let's say, and Metro have this system where it's like, you have cabin, you open up the cabin and you have all the electricals. Simple, easy. Like, and another aspect is all electric car companies, they are like salivating right now, because combustion engine, because it's so old technology that they could not monetize it well enough. So what they're doing with electric is like, it's magic technology. If you touch it, it will go boom, and you cannot open it up, you cannot repair it, you cannot service it. I get it, that for battery box itself, but everything else is just stuff. And be mindful, you are like, oh, it's a DC voltage, very high voltage. Let's say it's a average battery of 400 volt. Right, go YOLO. Let's go with 800 volt DC battery banks. Here's the deal. Have you seen Metro people? People who are working in Metro, many of the metros are running on DC voltage, and those puppies can be in India from 1500 volt to 3000 volt DC. Nobody's got time for that. It's like, it's magical. It's like, dude, there are procedures. People know how to deal with it. Have you seen solar installations? Yeah, those have inverters. Those inverters take long strings. Guess the voltage. 1500 volt DC. I know people who do that. It's not that complex. Now, of course, we have to take precautions and all that, but here's the deal. We know how to deal precautions and standards with 11 kV AC transmission line. We know how to deal with 1000 volt DC. Why can't we touch your electric vehicle? No, it's magic. So all those companies, they are actually spending time on magic locking their system. And this is like, done, go home. So that's why I said, like, they are not doing BS. They are actually trying to make it real, while other companies are like, how can we lock it so like we can double charge it, so we can triple charge it? It's like, yeah, that's the whole benefit of it. It's like, this truck company, if they really pull their weight properly, and like, something still, let's be very clear, something still has to go right. But if they can actually do it, you will be literally looking at a company that will go from nothing to something massive quickly. And all other truck companies will be like, how this happened? It's like, yeah, you were sleeping at the wheel. And again, be mindful, this just happened. So any large company who has brains, they're like, yeah, we should get it done. And we're like, oh, but it's not fully electric. Does not matter. Do it right now. And if a battery technology, let's say the battery actual cell chemistry improves magically, you can just use the battery. You can put a better battery and call it as an emergency backup, and then slowly start to decrease its size. And then people are like, okay, cool. So in those extreme worst case scenario, let's say you got stuck, you're like, okay, I'm going to start the generator, run it, and then be happy about it. So that's the whole point I'm saying. Just because there are already companies who is like, it's hard. Of course it's hard and annoying, but it's not that hard. Ironically, it's easier today than it was 50 years ago. Because again, right now, you can just pick up a phone, like even with framework, they pick up a phone, there is companies like, yeah, we make laptops for all these people. So it's like, okay, we can make it for you. Same with this. Like, again, they are not building things. They're like, hey, the generator they have is from Danfoss. The e-motor is from someone else. Again, they have multiple options. It's like, if you want to do it, you can do it. So this was my basically video about talking about how we can fix basically capitalism, take care of its late stage issues, so to say. And it's in all our best interest to actually fix it rather than blowing it up. So hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.